Hey, today we will talk about this book, Adultery, by a very famous author. I think you all know him, the one with the alchemist book, Paulo Coelho. I hope that I pronounce his name right. But before reading this book, first of all, I don't like the title at all. I'm not into this kind of stuff. But I read the review on Goodreads, and some of them they blame the main character so much. She definitely has depression, and for me alone, I wish that I could be kinder to the people with depression. I've seen so many people with depression. They just don't realize it. They don't realize that they have depression, They just think that they have a hard time and that's it. And they don't do anything to fix it. For me, I'm a positive person. So I would be so strict on someone who is depressed. And so I read this book just to help me understand more about depression, so that I can be better at talking to people with depression. I will be more empathize and tolerate, hopefully, yeah. But yeah, people in depression, it's very hard for them to recognize it, that they have depression and they have to do something to deal with it to get better. Otherwise, they just stuck in that forever, for a very long time. And most of them, because they don't think they have a problem, so they don't deal with it and they don't seek for help from, let's say, a psychiatrist or their friends or family. They just put themselves in a shell in their world and can't ever get out. Well, yeah, that's the reason why I read this book. I don't have the need to dig deeper in adultery now. I'm just curious about depression, and that's all. Okay, let's just dive into some quote that I find interesting. That some people spend years allowing the pressure to build up inside them without even noticing. And then one day, some tiny incident triggers a crisis. Symptoms are infectious, and you suddenly start feeling things you didn't feel before. The issues are the same and the problems continue unresolved because no one really cares. Sin is followed by the fear of being caught. So never commit a sin. Not everyone needs to feel happy all the time. Besides, no one can be happy all the time. I used to try to be happy all the time until I realized that I don't need to try, I just feel happy and that's it. But being happy or unhappy isn't important as being balanced. We can tell a good wine from a bad one, and that's all there is to it. Some people, they just kind of want to show off that they know a lot about wine. But really, everyone can taste it and everyone can tell if it's good or not. to tell them. You don't need to act like an expert. Tormented souls have this incredible ability to recognize and approach one another, thus compelling their grief. At one time, I was heartbroken, and at that time I could feel if someone also had a broken heart. It's so weird, the energy, but we don't show our feelings because people might think we're vulnerable and take advantage of us. But I think there's nothing wrong being vulnerable because we're a human being. We are not a rock or something that doesn't have any feeling. If we have feeling, we at some point are vulnerable, and it's okay. Being vulnerable is okay. No one is not like strong enough to be. No one is not strong enough that they can say no to everything around them. That they can say that, oh, I'm not affected by anything. I'm just myself. You do whatever you want to do, and I'm not hurt. No one can reach to that level, I think. So we all, at some point, vulnerable. Take advantage of us. And remember one rule. Don't take advantage of anybody, and don't let anybody take advantage of you. That's my number one rule. There have been broken hearts ever since the world began, ever since man discovered that mysterious thing called love. Everything is constantly changing. Why are we always trying to repeat the same pattern? It's not possible. It's unnatural. Wouldn't it be better to see challenges as a source of knowledge and not as our enemies? The whole is always more important than the part. There is not so blind as the one who does not want to see. I've never shown my feeling, so I won't seem weak. Again, it's so wrong to think like that. Are we encouraging depression and suicidal tendencies when we publish articles on successful people without explaining how they got there and make everyone else convince themselves they are worthless? Especially when social media are being used by so many people around the world. I just hope that people be more conscious of what they're putting on their social media. But I realize that most people like to post about their success and they don't post about their failure. For example, my friend, when they open a restaurant, they publish it on internet, on every social media platform. But when the restaurant was closed, I didn't see any notice about it. That's when I started to think about how people are using their social media. I think most of them are just posting about the good side of their life and are hiding the bad side of it. Now I'm very concerned about what I'm going to put on my Facebook or Instagram, and I don't want to put my achievements on there anymore. No, I don't want to be a reason for someone to question their ability and to think that they are not good enough. Forgetting is the wrong approach. You should face things head on. Have you noticed how human beings are more frightened by spiders and snakes than by automobiles, despite the fact that deaths from traffic accidents are much more frequent? This occurs because our minds are still living in caveman times, when snakes and spiders were lethal. The same thing happens when a man's need to have multiple women. In those times, he went hunting, and nature taught him that preservation of the species is a priority. You must get as many women pregnant as possible. I love you. I wouldn't do anything, absolutely anything, to always have you by my side. But I can't stop you from leaving one day. So, if that day comes, you are free to leave and seek your happiness. Record things in your heart is more important than trying to show people what you're experiencing. Alright, that's pretty much it. I saw so many bad reviews about the book, but for me it's a 4-star out of 5. I don't like the main characters though, because she's with depression, I tell you. And I think a positive person is, like for example for me, a young positive person is very hard for me to understand why people keep being stuck in a depressed situation, in a depressing situation. And I'm sorry. But after reading this book, where I understand more about them, it's very hard because they don't know that they're being stuck, you know. But I can't help them. I know I can't help them. I might spend time talking to them, but anything that I wanted to advise them, if they're not asking for my advice, then it's useless. My advice is useless. So yeah, I'll just listen to them. I'll just listen to some friends with depression. But for me, I think they should go to a psychiatrist to help them cure, to help them healed, or I don't know if they can heal themselves. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you have a good one, and see you in the next video.